Check out some shit that's going on in Mexico right now, hey? Let's check this out first.
At least 62 people have been killed following a wave of violence that broke out after the killing of the country's most wanted man. El Mencho, the leader of the new Jalisco New Generation Cartel, died after being captured by Mexican special forces on Sunday. Thousands of troops have now been deployed to help bolster security across the country following a wave of reprisal attacks. The government has ordered civilians to stay indoors as violent unrest spread to popular tourist destinations such as Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara. Our Central America correspondent Will Grant sent this report from the city of Guadalajara, which in 4 months is set to host the Football World Cup.
Wow.
The aftermath of drug cartel fury. In the hours after their leader was killed, foot soldiers of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, the most powerful drug gang in Mexico, went on the rampage, burning cars, blocking roads, spreading fear. Incidents were registered in 20 of Mexico's 32 states, the cartel present in every corner of the country.
Wow.
And this is the man whose killing prompted such violence. Nemesio Oseguera, better known as El Mencho, the petty drug dealer who rose to become the most wanted man in Mexico with a $15 million reward on his head. For Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, the victory lap over El Mencho was tempered by the violence unfolding on the streets, but she insisted normality was returning.
Today there is more calm and there is government, there are armed forces, there is a security cabinet and there is a lot of coordination. So you can rest assured that peace, security and normality in the country are being safeguarded.
The White House also praised the operation and highlighted the role of US intelligence in bringing down El Mencho.
So far, this has been hailed as a victory on both sides of the border. If Claudia Sheinbaum, hopeful, but it could stave off more talk of unilateral US military action on Mexican soil. But the scenes of violence, including here in Guadalajara, one of the host cities of the FIFA World Cup in just a few months, could harm Mexico too.
Security remains a real concern going into world football's biggest competition. Travellers were stranded in airports, some spending the night with the violence still taking place outside. Despite the chaos, the Mexican government sees taking out El Mencho as ultimately making things safer here. The cartel continues to reign over huge swathes of Mexico, their income, particularly from fentanyl trafficking, worth billions of dollars a year.
Wow, okay. Wow. "25 guards killed, wow." That's crazy.
Mexico woke up to a country on fire. Roads blocked, vehicles burning, and gunfire sounds echoing across states. This is the violent fallout after the killing of one of the world's most feared drug lords. Mexico's Security Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed that 25 members of the National Guard were killed in 6 separate attacks in Jalisco. This was following the death of Jalisco New Generation Cartel leader Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho. President Claudia Sheinbaum called for calm, announcing that security forces had cleared all major roadblocks.
We are making a respectful call to the violent reactions were reported by a criminal group in various regions of the country, primarily road blockades, the burning of vehicles, attacks on gas stations, commercial establishments, and banking institutions, as well as cowardly aggressions against authorities and acts of arson. President Claudia Sheinbaum's primary objective is to protect the majority of these blockades. Yesterday they were removed, and today we're in a completely new state. No blockades. The main roads were cleared, and the areas that were still impacted are under operational control and fully cleared, with the considerations you mentioned. In cowardly attacks following the operation for Menchus detention, 27 cowardly aggressions against authorities were reported. In Jalisco, 6 aggressions were recorded, where, regrettably, 25 members of the National Guard, 1 custodian, and 1 from the State Attorney General's office lost their lives.
Omar, it's important to mention, but they are clear. Some flights were preventatively suspended by the airlines themselves, particularly those heading to Puerto Vallarta, and we expect that sometime today, or at the very latest tomorrow, all flights will be fully reestablished. This report is important.
Clarity regarding what intelligence information was shared by the United States to be able to establish this cordon and achieve the arrest of this individual?
No United States forces are involved in the operation. Instead, there's a lot of information exchange. As we've said here many times, our understanding with the US is fundamentally based on intelligence and information sharing. In this case, as there was information provided by the United States government, they even issued a statement, intelligence, but the entire operation from its planning is the responsibility, of the federal forces, in this case, the Secretariat of National Defense.
El Mencho was the head of one of Mexico's fastest growing and most ruthless criminal organizations, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, accused of flooding the United States with fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine. He was killed during a shootout in his home state of Jalisco as Mexican military forces attempted to capture him. The response was swift and deadly. Cartel members launched coordinated attacks, blocking highways and setting vehicles ablaze across multiple states. Authorities say more than 250 roadblocks were reported across 20
crazy,
states.
man.
Alongside the 25 National Guard members, a prison guard, a state prosecutor's agent, and an unidentified woman were also killed.
Terrible, man. Fucking tragic.
Officials say roughly 30 suspected criminals were killed in Jalisco and 4 more in Michoacan. Several states canceled school as local and foreign governments urged citizens to stay indoors. The White House confirmed the United States provided support for the operation and praised Mexico's military for taking down one of the most wanted criminals in both countries. But President Sheinbaum emphasized there was no direct involvement of U.S. forces, only intelligence sharing. Mexico is betting that the fall of the world's most powerful fentanyl traffickers could buy it breathing room in Washington's escalating crackdown on cartels. A high-profile death, a powerful signal, a calculated message to the United States. Action is being taken, but across Mexico, the mood is anything but calm. Security forces remain on edge, rival factions watch and wait. Communities brace for possible retaliation, because when a kingpin falls, the vacuum rarely stays empty for long.
El autobús de pasajeros que está en ese momento picoteándose, no vemos ninguna autoridad que llegue hasta ese lugar. No vemos a nadie. Estamos observando simple y sencillamente estos europeos que están sucediendo aquí.
This shit is crazy, man. Holy fuck, it's like hell on earth down there right now.
Mexico is burning. From the beaches of Puerto Vallarta to highways stretching across western states, flames have engulfed vehicles, roads have been sealed off with burning barricades, and terrified residents have been ordered indoors. All of it triggered by one name, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, the feared leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. And now, after his reported death in a military operation, Mexico is facing a wave of coordinated cartel retaliation unlike anything seen in recent years. According to Mexico's Ministry of Defense, El Mencho was wounded during confrontation with federal forces and later
Anybody here to
died
like, share, and
while being
subscribe, please,
airlifted
if
to
you
Mexico
enjoyed the
City.
video. Thank you.
7 alleged cartel members were killed in the operation. 3 soldiers were injured. But it was what happened next that sent shockwaves across the country. Within hours, so-called narco blockades erupted across multiple states. In Puerto Vallarta, drone footage captured apocalyptic scenes. Buildings and vehicles were engulfed in flames. Thick black smoke rose high above the skyline.
Crazy,
Some
man.
individuals were seen deliberately setting vehicles on fire, transforming major avenues into burning choke points. Authorities confirmed shootings, torched vehicles, tire spikes placed at access roads, and coordinated blockades across key routes. The municipal government of Puerto Vallarta urged merchants and service providers to temporarily close their establishments for safety. Residents and tourists
Holy
were
fuck,
told
look at
to
all that
avoid
black smoke,
affected
man. That's
areas
crazy,
and limit
dude.
non-essential travel. Puerto Vallarta is not just a tourist hotspot. According to federal authorities, it is one of the key operational hubs from which CJNG coordinates activity nationwide. That explains the scale and speed of the retaliation. The violence did not stop there. In the neighboring state of Nayarit, buses and cars burned on deserted highways as firefighters battled flames under armed guard. State officials urged residents to remain inside their homes while federal forces reinforced security. Reports of road blockades and burning vehicles emerged from at least 10 states, including Jalisco, Nayarit, Michoacán, and Tamaulipas. The ripple effects reached Mexico City. A National Guard convoy escorted a forensic ambulance through the capital streets to the headquarters of the Specialized Prosecutor's Office for Organized along Paseo de la Reforma. Authorities have not formally confirmed the identity of the body transported under heavy guard, but the timing and the scale of nationwide unrest points to one conclusion. Meanwhile, at the Central de Autobuses del Norte in Mexico City, travelers were left stranded. Bus companies suspended routes to western states amid security fears. Passengers queued at information desks, clutching luggage, desperate for updates on canceled departures. Bus operators say services will only resume once authorities confirm that highways are secure. For now, mobility across large parts of western Mexico remains paralyzed.
The crime situation is very difficult, and what's most concerning, the agencies of the bus lines, well, they don't allow us to, or they simply won't sell us a ticket for our intended destination. My wife and daughter are waiting for me, and they tell me the roads to the ranch are closed, and supposedly they're burning vehicles. No, I don't. And I don't have more information about it. Well, it's like everything, isn't it? It's like everything that we're worried. She's worried about me here, and I'm worried about her there, you know, because the situation is really tough, and we hope that it gets better and that all the roads are controlled, that they open up so that each of us can reach our destination.
El Mencho was one of the most powerful and elusive drug traffickers in the world. The United States had offered a $15 million reward for information leading to his capture. Under his leadership, the CJNG expanded into one of Mexico's most dominant and violent criminal organizations, with influence stretching far beyond Jalisco. His death, if fully confirmed, represents a seismic shift in Mexico's criminal landscape, but it also raises a dangerous question. Who fills the vacuum?
I wonder who put the $15 million. I wonder who $15 million reward. I don't think anybody will. Probably just the states will say that they gave the fucking information. Guaranteed. Cheap motherfuckers. Yeah, this shit is crazy, man. Mexico is fucking going crazy right now.
Mexico is on high alert, but the president. Mexico is on high alert, but the Claudia Sheinbaum says the country is at peace. Schools are closed in several states. Travel delays have left people stranded. And it's because a military operation that killed the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. It's one of the country's most powerful criminal organizations. Nemesio Oseguera, also known as El Mencho, was wounded in fighting with soldiers in Jalisco State. He died on Sunday while he was being flown to Mexico City. Members of the cartel have responded with violence across the country, blocking roads and setting fire to vehicles. Mexico says Sunday's operation was carried out with its own military intelligence, and that was backed up by what it called complementary information from the U.S. El Mencho had a U.S. bounty on his head worth $15 million. Violence triggered by his death has sent fearful residents into hiding. The streets of the Jalisco state capital, Guadalajara, have been almost empty. Stores, pharmacies, and fuel stations have shut down. The unrest has spread to the neighboring states of Oaxaca, as well as smaller resort towns. A travel warning has been issued after the killing of El Mencho. Washington has told U.S. citizens in Mexico to remain indoors until further notice. The UK is advising against non-essential travel to parts of Mexico, including Jalisco State. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum is urging citizens to remain calm.
We are proud of the armed forces' efforts. The most important thing at this time is peace and security throughout the nation. As of today, we have more peace and tranquility. Security Cabinet has been convened, and there is a lot of coordination. So rest assured, we are safeguarding peace and security and normalcy throughout the country.
We've got our correspondents in Mexico and the US covering the latest developments. We're going to start with John Holman, whose life was in Mexico City. John, so Mexico's defense minister, who was speaking after the president, had been giving more details about the raid.
Stop shaking your head, man.
Yes, he was. And it was quite some information that he gave. First of all, he said how they'd actually been able to find Nemesio Oseguera, El Mencho. He said that they'd actually located through their military intelligence a man that transported one of his sentimental partners, his romantic partners of El Mencho, to this group of cabins that are in this picturesque holiday town in Jalisco called Tlalpan. And that there, once they found out that he was taking her, the man then said that he dropped her off and that El Mencho was there and he was meeting with her. She then went, he stayed on, El Mencho, and that's when they started to plan the operation. He said, first of all, they sent an armed force by the roads, and that made a circle around the area in which El Mencho was with his security detail. We know that he always travels pretty heavy with an escort that can protect him just in case he needs it from Mexican security forces. Once they got that done, they also activated an aerial force that was going to drop in mostly via helicopter and have a sort of element of surprise. He said that they kept them out of the state of Jalisco so that they could get in there and then sort of launch almost an ambush. He said that what happened is they started going in to try and capture El Mencho. The El Mencho's people then started to fire on them quite strongly. It got really violent. And after that, El Mencho fled into the woods with a couple of his bodyguards. Then they tracked them down. They managed to capture them. They put them, he said, on the helicopter to Mexico City. And then El Mencho died en route. So it was quite an operation. There were quite a few questions for him on where the intelligence came from. And he said, no, it was our intelligence, but we were backed up by US intelligence. He made quite a big deal out of that. That's important because the context here is that President Donald Trump has really been onto the Mexican government saying you've got to knock out these drug cartels. Mexico's been saying, no, we can do it our way. Don't you dare come onto our territory to do this.
Yeah, the Mexicans don't want Americans no fucking where in Mexico.
That point, and he actually started crying near the end. He was talking about 3 soldiers that lost their lives here, and he ended by saying Mexico can get to grips with things on our own territory, and of that there is no doubt. And then he sort of left the platform almost in tears.
So we've seen this upsurge in violence since the killing. The president said the most important thing is to guarantee peace and security for the entire population of Mexico. So maybe we're seeing short-term violence, but the question will be what happens in the coming months.
Violence, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that was actually a question that right at the end of the press conference was asked to the country's security czar. And he said, they asked him what happens when the cartel starts to restructure inside. There's a bit of a problem in that the brother of El Mencho, Nemesio Ceguera, he's been captured. He's actually in the United States. El Mencho's son and daughter have also both been taken or in prison also. So what some experts are telling us is that there could be a real leadership battle. And we've seen that time and time again in Mexico when a top kingpin has been knocked out. And what that tends to lead to is a bit of a bloodbath that the citizens in the area that's
El Yogurt, that's who's going to be the next kingpin. El Yogurt.
There's sometimes extortion goes up because they're trying to pay for their war fees, different groups that are trying to take control. So when he was asked about that and that restructuring, he basically said, we're going to be monitoring, we're going to have elements in place to make sure that that doesn't happen. He also said that they're going to be monitoring different heads of the cartel to try and see what they're going to do if anyone's trying to move in. The reporter then asked him, but what about other groups? And he said, no, this is all about restructuring in Jalisco. I'm not so sure about that because the cartel of New Generation of Jalisco was fighting different battles in different parts, especially in Michoacan, an especially violent state in the southwest of the country. And then maybe the other groups that it was fighting against are seeing this power vacuum and might try and move in. We were hearing about shootouts in Michoacan state yesterday, so we're going to be monitoring as well to see what happens next.
For now, John Holman in Mexico City. John, thank you very much indeed.
All right, I'll talk